Ross on your left against Dorian Finn on your right. It is 8-rack against Merfolk. Tom won the die roll, and he elected to draw.
He may know that. He may choose to do that even if he knows his opponent's playing Merfolk. Also, Tom doesn't necessarily have that information.
That's true. So this will be a little bit interesting. Players been given the green light. Dorian will be on the play because Tom's letting him, and now this is an Aether Vial. I wonder if this is good or bad for Tom.
Well, this cuts both ways. One is it's nice for Finn to be able to play kind of an instant speed game and still be able to cast stuff if his hand gets stripped down or his lands get constricted. The other side of it, though, is that it's a card that's not a threat or any sort of permanent that Tom really has to worry about in and of itself. And if Tom's able to strip down the opposing hand, Finn may be more in the market for just additional threat cards rather than things like Aether Vial.
To note that Tom is looking at 4 cards with his Thoughtseize, a Harbinger of the Tides, a Manamo, along with 2 copies of Curse Catcher. Aether Vial being in play along with an island means that's 6 cards total for Dorian, which means he took a mulligan, as you can see, which is something that Tom's deck actively enjoys to see his opponents do. And now I'm curious to see what card he's going to select.
So over the long stretch of time, it's possible this Aether Vial is going to do positive work for Finn. But you can see, with this kind of hand, I'm sure Finn would have preferred this Aether Vial to just be another creature.
Sure. So what card does the boss, Tom Ross, want to take in this situation?
And it's potentially catastrophic if Finn draws a second copy of Aether Vial.
Yeah, not great in multiples.
Yep.
He's going to select Curse Catcher with Thoughtseize as he falls down to 18. That'll be Ross's turn. So, a counter on the Aether Vial means that it is up to 1. Finn will draw for the turn. There's the Manamo. School at Water's Edge. Now here is the Harbinger of the Tides. And a passing of the turn. Liliana the Veil to draw. Here is Raven's Crime.
Tom casting this into the Curse Catcher he knows about. This is a fine one to have countered by Curse Catcher.
I don't think you mind too much, right? All right, Marrow Regery down. Tom will play Mutavault, and now a copy of Shrieking Affliction. Okay. We'll take a look at that one as Curse Catcher is going to enter the battlefield. Shrieking Affliction is a way that Tom's able to deal plenty of damage, so 3 damage is going to be dealt over the Dorian. He's taking a look. We'll do the same. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, he or she loses 3 life. So tick-tock goes their clock.
And spoiler alert, Dorian's not getting out from under this.
No.
So this is just 3 a turn.
Yes. Dorian, I believe, drew a copy of Wanderwine Hub. He's just going to play it because, like you said, he knows he's not going to get out from underneath it. Might need 3 mana, so here's an attack for 3. Ross will fall down to 15, and now Tom will draw. He picked up a Swamp. This will be a copy of Liliana the Veil. He's going to minus that, and you see Tom point at the Curse Catcher and say, I'm pretty sure you're going to sacrifice that, right?
Though maybe not. I think I think that Finn probably has to sacrifice the Curse Catcher because the Mutavault on defense checks the Curse Catcher anyway from Tom's side. I think Tom was just assuming, but Finn wants to make sure, all right, is he doing this because he's assuming or because he really wants me to sacrifice the Curse Catcher for some reason?
Here come the beatdowns. Liliana down. You see Dorian fell down to 14 from the Shrieking Affliction. And now Finn will just pass the turn, so the boss will untap. He'll take a draw step. He's got another copy of Liliana the Veil in hand. Looks like he picked up a Mutavault for the turn. Does he want to maybe lead off with some sort of discard spell? Yeah, he's going to play Raven's Crime. That'll take care of Dismember. Now here's a land. There's Liliana. That'll take care of that. Now all of a sudden it seems like Tom Ross is in the driver's seat here.
3 a turn, can't really be interacted with. 2 Mutavaults on the battlefield. Finn having to play off the top, cast whatever he draws basically right away.
Finn takes 3 more, falls down to 11. This is a Curse Catcher. Not great as he passes the turn back. Ross will draw. Picked up a Swamp. Not a lot going on there. Can tick up Liliana if he'd like. Again, Finn has no cards. Boss has 2 Swamps in hand. Gonna plus the Liliana, lose a Swamp. Gonna fire at Mutavaults, coming to the red zone. Finn gonna take that damage, fall down to 7, and now he's gonna fall down to 4 from the trigger, and I don't know if there's a way out now.
You can see that Ross had some hesitation there about, am I supposed to hang back on defense and protect the Liliana a little bit, but with Finn going to 7 and then 4 from the Shrieking Affliction, that essentially locks the game up because there's no way for Finn to avoid the Shrieking Affliction triggering over the next 2 turns.
Yep. And that is going to do it. Tom Ross going to win game number 1 here over Dorian Finn. 8-rack. Yes, 8-rack. Up a game here over the Fishies.
So that was interesting because Finn had an Aether Vial that was basically not a card over the course of the game. I think the real keys of the matchup from Finn's side of the table are the 2-for-1. Silvergill Adept, you can kind of count Spreading Seas in that conversation as well. Mutavault, you can count that card as well. Things that allow him to generate multiple resources out of one card. Aether Vial will have spots of being spectacular because it's so efficient and it dodges some of the sorcery speed stuff that Ross has going on in the deck. But I think the cards that accrue card advantage or allow him to better play an attrition game are the real prizes in this matchup.
Well, we're going to go to the sideboards now. We'll take a look at the options here for both players. We're going to start with Dorian Finn. He's got an Echoing Truth, a Dismember, 4 Tidebinder Mage, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Spellskite, 2 Negate, a Tectonic Edge, and then 2 copies of Dispel.
So I'm not really that into any of this. Is that okay to say?
I think it's totally fine to say.
I think that
maybe
it negates,
Spellskites?
maybe Spellskites, maybe negates, but I'm sideboarding pretty light here.
I don't think there's much of a reason to change much. This is going to be an obvious statement to say, but Dorian has not brought a lot of cards for the 8-rack matchup.
Right. I mean, he's got some creature removal, some anti-combo stuff, the Tidebinder Mages for the appropriate matchups. Not a whole lot that strikes me as great here.
On the other side of things here for Tom Ross, he's got 2 Waste Not, 1 Night of Soul's Betrayal, 2 Deathmark, 2 Disfigure, a Leyline of the Void of Flame Tendrils, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Asylum Visitor, and 2 Death's Shadow.
Interesting sideboard here, obviously.
Yes.
Unorthodox deck.
Yes.
I think the Flame Tendrils is probably above the ar, and I'm somewhat interested in Asylum Visitor because I think in some protracted games it can be very, very powerful, and it's also just something that can trade early on in the game. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. I don't want to speculate too much from Tom's side of the table all over the sideboard here. The Disfigures as well, excellent in this matchup. A lot of 2/2s floating around. But the Asylum Visitors and the Flame Tendrils strike me as cards that Tom may want to bring in.
Well, as Ross and Finn finish sideboarding and shuffling up, we're going to tell you where you can go back and watch the replays of this tournament and a whole bunch more. That's, of course, the StarCityGames.com YouTube page where you can become one of over 101,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you can subscribe today at youtube.com/StarCityGames. A lot of archives, a lot of different content up there, including Versus Series archives, Commander Versus archives, Magic Online playtesting, and Best of SCG Live, plus much more. Again, subscribe today over at youtube.com/StarCityGames for free and get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
Oh, the boss, Tom Ross. It's not Infect. It's not Dredge. It's 8-rack now for the boss, for the 33-year-old who currently resides in Roanoke, Virginia, with 14 open top 8s. This one might be the most impressive of the bunch now, however, if he's able to get the job done. He's also got 4 invitational top 8s. We'll be sure to get that graphic fixed, along with 2 invitational wins. And as we discussed yesterday, the Goldeneye with the feet. I think we might have to update this about the Hard Punch Chun-Li.
Hard Punch Chun-Li, Goldeneye with the feet. These are some unorthodox video game skills to have developed.
Yes.
But I think for Tom, once you've accomplished everything you can accomplish playing conventionally, you need to start doing some unconventional things, such as Hard Punch Chun-Li or 8-rack in Modern.
Well, it just gets to the point where it's just too easy for him.
Just too,
So he's got to find challenges for himself. It's like people who speedrun Mega Man.
You got to make your own game.
You do. They present you with a product, and you can make it your own.
So it looks like Tom and Dorian both taking mulligans here. Tom has been the beneficiary so far on camera of opponents taking a lot of mulligans. Dorian on 6 cards game 1, now going to 6 cards in game number 2. And yesterday against Infect, opponent wins game 1, mulligans to 4 and 5, I believe, in games. Good circumstances for anyone, but especially for Tom's deck, where mulligans have to be catastrophic for the opponent.
Let's talk about something that's important. Dorian Finn is a name.
Great name.
That's a great name.
Great name.
Are you happy with your name, Patrick Sullivan?
I am.
Yeah?
I am. My parents did all right.
Okay. In general, I don't really like
It wasn't like it was the most complicated naming process in the world. They're just some Irish name. They just named me after saints. Middle name is Brian.
Sure.
It was easy mode for them, but they still didn't. They didn't mess it up. So that's
they didn't blow it.
Right. They didn't blow it.
Dorian Finn is just a great name.
Great name.
Imagine if Dorian Finn was just a baseball player.
Yeah.
He would be the best baseball player.
And extremely popular.
Yes. That's just a name that leads to success. Here's an Urborg.
Though perhaps not in this match.
Curse Catcher's making things a little difficult here for Tom Ross.
You like to have the Ravens crime lead out here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. How about Inquisition of Kozilek instead? Dorian actually led it off with my favorite blue non-basic land of all time.
Oboro.
Yeah, Palace in the Clouds.
Hmm.
I've always liked that card.
We'll go with Teleria.
It doesn't. The ability doesn't come up very much at all, but I just love it because Moloku was one of my favorite cards back in the day. Gonna take a Spreading Seas. You're a Teleria fan, huh?
I am a Teleria.
Not Teleria West, just flat Teleria.
Just Teleria.
Let's see if we can find that. Here comes Curse Catcher. What is this? Add a blue. During upkeep, remove the banding or bans with other ability from target creature until the turn.
Bans with other was a mechanic they really highlighted in Legends. There's a cycle of lands, in fact, that allow your Legends to ban with others. They don't even really work in the rules. But when I was a kid, since these lands tapped for the appropriate color of mana, I thought they were just basically cheating. Because there wasn't a lot of non-basic hate at the time. But, you know, Acid Rain and Flash Fires and cards like that were part of my childhood. So I thought, isn't playing one of these cards just cheating? Basically.
But it's not.
And I was right.
Oh, you were right.
I was right.
Okay.
This is not the most powerful one in the cycle. Caracas is.
Oh, is it?
Caracas is a more powerful, which is another interesting design because, you know, we're going to have a set built around Legends. We're going to have these storyline characters. They're going to be really expensive. What if we slapped permanent unsummon onto a Plains? Okay.
Dismember. Tom is going to take 8. All right, one at a time. Tom assuming what Dorian's going to do.
Yeah. Tom's super shortcutting here.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So if you make me pay 1 more for my dismember.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't. Tom giving his opponent a lot of credit right now, saying, I think that you're just going to let this die, right?
Let it go.
Just let it go.
Let it go. There's nothing you can do about this.
Do not make him pay 1
All
more.
right,
there you go.
All right.
Make him pay 4 more life, another card. All right, we're good.
As Tom would say, you right.
You right.
You right.
You're right. All right, we're heading back Dorian's way now. Curse Catcher kind of annoying for Tom's deck to play against.
A little bit, yeah.
That's how I would always describe Curse Catcher. Annoying.
Certainly on the first turn of the game, it's good. Tom does play with a lot of cheap spells he's trying to do to set up the board early on.
There's another Harbinger. The Rack.
Oh, yeah.
The draw here for Tom. Gonna cinch it in.
Yep. He's got 2 racks, in fact. I think he has the Shrieking Affliction as well.
Oh, okay. Yep. Here's Lex Luger. So Shrieking Affliction and the Rack have arrived. I can certainly appreciate Tom using white-bordered rack instead of the time-shifted one as well.
I would just get the black-bordered rack.
Well, yeah, you could do that too.
Right.
But Tom...
No, from the old set.
No, I get that.
It's not that expensive.
Yeah. But Tom purposely going with the disgusting white-bordered version to tilt us and his opponents.
I have some sentimental attachment to Revise of
Of
all the
course you
white-bordered sets.
Here is a Master of the Pearl Trident. Attack for 3. Ross is down to 8. He's in a little bit of trouble here, all kidding aside as he draws a card. Now he's found a swamp. That was a big draw. As he does have a copy of Liliana the Veil, which plays the role of removal spell here. Not entirely sure what the other card is here for Tom. What is this? All right, there's Liliana. Tick it down. Gonna make Dorian sacrifice a creature. There goes the Harbinger. Now we're gonna head back Dorian's way. He's gonna take a little bit of damage here from the rack. Nothing from the Affliction as he draws a card.
Ross setting up the rack right now. Doesn't have it completely cinched in.
Yeah. He's got his opponent up on the shoulders.
Yeah. Finn's still struggling. Still moving around a little bit.
Finn Balor. Your favorite wrestler.
My perhaps least favorite wrestler.
Here is a Spreading Seas on the Urborg. That Urborg is now an island. And now here comes the Master. Down goes Liliana. Time for Ross to untap and draw. Raven's Crime, the draw. Don't have a great idea what Ross is working with right now. He's got a copy of Smallpox.
Ooh.
All right.
So the tricky part is he doesn't have 3 black mana to play Raven's Crime and the Smallpox.
Yeah, because
this is just too good of a spot to.
Yeah, I can't say no to this, right? So Tom says, I'm going to sacrifice the your board to the smallpox. So there that goes. That creature is dead. Also, Dorian's going to have to sacrifice a land, so that's a pretty good smallpox.
And you can see the Aether Vial in Finn's hand, again, not really pulling its weight here. It's a card that doesn't, in quotes, do anything. And those are hard cards a lot of the time against a deck like 8-Rack.
Dorian going to draw. He picked up an island for the turn. I think he's also got an Aether Vial in hand still. The more cards he plays, the more problematic it can get. So, let's see what Ross draws. A Wrench Mine.
Ooh.
All right, the race is on here. So Dorian's going to take 6. Going to go down to 10. He'll draw. Didn't get a great look.
Remember, Ross still with Raven's Crime in the graveyard, so any land it can be converted into discard a card, and any spell is a spell.
Well, there's some misses, though.
Yes.
A card like Liliana.
3-mana spells are definitely misses right now. Thoughtseize is a bit of a miss.
Yeah, kind of a stinker there. Dorian.
But this just might be 2 turns.
Yep.
I don't know if it got to fade a lot of draws here.
Now Dorian's got a great land in play.
Oh, Oboro, beautiful in
it's
this spot.
actually really good right now.
Yes.
I'm not sure if he realizes how good it is in this spot because it doesn't really come up very much as Ross will draw a card. That's a copy of Raven's Crime. Make him discard the Wanderwine Hub. He has not returned the Oboro just yet. Dorian's going to fall down to 4. Master of the Pearl Trident is not the answer we've been looking for.
Yeah, if he casts it, then he's just going to die to the upkeep trigger of the rack plus Shrieking Affliction.
Yeah, Master of the Pearl Trident, he'll reveal that's what I've drawn, and that's not enough to cross the finish line. And that's going to do it. Tom Ross going to win this match here over Dorian Finn, 2-0. 8-Rack going to take care of the fishies. And Tom Ross, I think, is going to be tweeting out another Lex Luger picture.
Fittingly, Dorian tapped out instead of allowing the triggers to occur.
Ah, yes.
Submitted.
Much like the rack.
Tapped out.
Yes, the Torture Rack does it again. 10-2 now is Tom Ross with 8-Rack.
Beautiful.
I guess the missed flight and the repurchasing of the flight was worth it.
So far.
So far.
Still a lot of Magic left to be played.
Yeah?
If for Tom, if not his opponents.
Yes. Yes.
But yes, 10-2 right now. Great position to make a run to the top 8. Would be excellent to have him there for any number of reasons.
The games with 8-Rack are always a real